Hello and welcome back, ladies. If you are new here, my name is Jax, where I have shared our 4-year-long journey through infertility, IVF, adoption, parenting, and now pregnancy. This week is my 30-week update, the big 3-0. Ironically, I also turned 30 this week, so it's a double 30 week. But this week, I'm going to give my update about restless leg syndrome, breastfeeding, and our baby moon. Let's kick it off like we always do with the baby update. Baby Kingsley is about the size of a platypus or cantaloupe this week. Did you know that when platypi were originally discovered, it was thought that they were a hoax? Like it took a while for the scientific community to accept that they were actual animals. Anyway, fun fact. This whole video is full of fun facts, but that one's really random. All right, size of cantaloupe, which puts him at around 15 and a half inches long and somewhere between 3 and 3.5 pounds. This week marks a big milestone of his digestive tract fully functioning and starting to process not just amniotic fluid, but that hair, that little fur coat that he's been growing to keep him warm while he hasn't been fat enough, that is starting to fall off, which he is starting to swallow, which is what makes up, of course, their first lovely tar poops. I'm glad everyone mentions that, but it's good they do, because if you're taking care of a newborn and you see that for the first time, you're like, what is happening? It's good that they warn you about that. Anyway, so he's losing his little fur coat because he's gaining a lot of weight. In fact, from here on out, he should be gaining about 0.5 pound a week. Speaking of gaining weight, on to the mommy section of this little update. I was weighing in at 159.5 pounds on the last day of week 30. I say that with a lot of skepticism because for the rest of week 30, I was in the 157 range. And then magically the last 2 days, I've bumped up 3 or 4 pounds. So we'll get to it. I have some theories, but anyway, it's good news. I need to be gaining weight. That puts me 11 pounds over starting weight and at a full recovery from the stomach flu incident of 2 weeks ago. Belly is still measuring around 32 inches around the widest part. We can do bump shots now, but I don't see a whole lot of change.
All right, throw on some shorts here, but this is what it looked like from the front. Still just really faint line. Starting, you can see that bulge out on the side. This ligament sticking out. And then from the side, do you like my pineapple shorts? From the side, you can see the big vein, but other than that, no stretch marks on either side that I can see. So yeah, that's what we're working with.
All right, what is going on symptom-wise this week? The biggest thing and the worst thing that has happened this week is I have developed restless leg syndrome, which is so hard to describe and I've never dealt with before, even though both my grandmother and my mother have restless leg syndrome issues, and it is hereditary. I have personally never struggled with it, and if you don't know what it is, it's not just the urge to fidget or anything. It is almost a painful sensation in your legs unless you move them, and it manifests at night and goes away in the early morning, but just for those hours it makes it impossible to fall asleep and you constantly have to be twitching your legs or getting up and walking. Like I said, I have never dealt with it before, but diving in, doing some research, super common in 3rd trimester pregnancy, linked to anemia, which I have been taking my iron supplements for weeks now. I'm not sure if it's enough to fix my anemia. It's hard to tell because my main symptom of anemia was being so tired, but now I'm battling this restless leg syndrome, which means I'm only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night. So it's hard to tell if my anemia is getting better or worse, despite me being really diligent about my iron supplements. So, factors going into restless leg syndrome, pregnancy, anemia, and then hydration level. Remember a few weeks back, I said I'd been really chugging water right before bed. I'd been so thirsty, and my doctor said, stop that. you are going to give yourself worse reflux. Well, sure enough, I stopped chugging water. It helped with my reflux. But through a few days of experimentation, I actually think me drinking that massive amount of water before bed was helping with my restless leg syndrome. So the long and the short of it is I asked my Facebook group, a bunch of people chimed in. They're like, get your anemia under control, it'll fix it. And a bunch of them said magnesium was also a great fix, both in pill and cream form. So I need to try that, but this sucks. Like, I have never dealt with a sensation like that before. So my heart goes out to all you women and men that are dealing with that like all the time, because that is so horrendous and you can't ignore it. It's so bizarre. Anyway, that's been this week, so it's been a little shy on the sleep side, but I'm experimenting with different ways to try to manage it. I think water is my answer. We'll see next week, in next week's update, if I fixed it. On to happier topics. This week, I definitely have learned baby Kingsley's like wake sleep cycle habits. Like, I know when I should expect to feel him. And just like all my apps promised, for once they're pulling through on their promises, the kicks are starting to feel lighter. There's only been 1 or 2 times where he's like kicked me and I've like gasped this week. So definitely there's a limited amount of room in there and he's getting bigger. And so the kicks and stuff are getting softer. I'm actually glad that the apps mentioned that, or else I'd be worried that they were getting softer. This week, I went to my breastfeeding class. The husband didn't join me because it was in the evening, like 7 to 9:30, which, whoa, encroaching on bedtime, for real. But it was late at night, and so someone needed to stay home with E, and I figured he wouldn't get quite as much out of it as me. Overall, helpful, but there was a few disappointing parts. If you watched my book review, you know I'm not about like the mom-shaming life, and I'm about teaching women like a realistic way to handle their pregnancies and breastfeeding. And so some of this rhetoric around breastfeeding nowadays is pretty aggressive, and I can make a whole nother video about breastfeeding and like the actual science behind breast versus formula feeding nowadays, because again, I feel like I'm a broken record. Just like I was saying in my book review, if you're quoting science that is out of date, you are not doing justice to your audience. And are actually doing harm. So anyway, I'm gonna gloss over that. I'm gonna save that for a different video because I know people have strong feelings about it. But overall, it was helpful to learn different latch positions, different expectations of when your milk should come in, learning that most of your milk is produced on demand. I don't know, maybe I'm alone in this, but I was like, oh, your boobs are like a reservoir for milk, but they only hold a very small amount, and actually your letdown is an active production of milk at that time, which I thought was interesting. Overall, it was a very helpful class. I did send the husband videos to watch on YouTube, and ones that were more geared towards partners instead of the breastfeeding parent, which I think is a better use of his time anyway. Like, he needs to learn how to support me, and that is a big indicator in success of breastfeeding, is having your partner be supportive. I didn't think he needed as much to like know all the different like hold positions. And other than that, I did snag all of the rest of what I need for my hospital bag. There wasn't too much that I needed, but there was a few items that I picked up. So in the coming weeks, I will be filming the What's in My Hospital Bag that video. If you're interested, you can subscribe and join me for that. I do binge watch a lot of those. I don't watch a lot of pregnancy updates of other people. I do adore What's in My Hospital Bag videos. So, you know it's probably going to be a little over the top. But anyway, if you're interested, join the journey and get ready for that video. On to family updates. Like I mentioned in the intro, I actually turned 30 this week. So, woo, the big 3-0. This is my second birthday in quarantine. My birthday party was actually one of the very first like big things to get canceled back at the beginning of COVID. And so here I am again, pregnant and not able to, and in COVID and not able to like do big birthday things. But next year is going to be huge. But what my husband and I did do is we went up to Excelsior Springs, which is just this little town up in Missouri, and it has the Elms Hotel, the most haunted hotel in Missouri, which I'll get to that. But it is a hotel and spa, and so we spent a night up there. Grandparents watched E, and we were able to have a really nice time. Drove up there. It was nice to just have some adult time to talk about everything. We got checked in. We had our special spa tub treatments. We got lunch. We took a nap. It was great. Then we had very nice dinner reservations, had dinner, got to snuggle in bed, watch some shows, including the Ghost Hunters episode about the Elms Hotel, which, oh my god, there's content on YouTube that is a higher quality than this show from the 90s. And I know it was a sci-fi show, but this show was put together so poorly. It was amazing to watch. And in summary, there are like roughly 3 potential ghosts in this hotel. So the bar for being the most haunted hotel in Missouri is real low. And one of them's just like super nice and wants people to clean up. One of them is an ex-mafia member that got murdered. And one is like a mom looking for a child. So not as good. But otherwise they're pretty tame. Like no one's like, oh man, they tried to kill me. No, it's like really tame hauntings. Like make your bed. So not super threatening. But anyway, we got up the next day, had a nice breakfast at the hotel, and got to drive back, which was really nice. Just to get a break, a little refresher, to get a baby moon, because I definitely didn't think we would get that. And even though it's, not a vacation to Mexico or anything, it still was a nice little moment away for us where we didn't have to worry about parenting and babies for 24 hours. And it was a nice break because the husband is working a crud ton of overtime these last 2 weeks, which has been a lot to juggle with my diminishing energy levels. And don't worry, everyone in this house is on the same page of this has got to stop. So after this project, there's a hard stop to the overtime. So we just got to get through this week and then it should be done, she says, with so much hope in her heart. But anyway, overall, great weekend. Kind of a weekend of symptoms. But you know what? Like I said, we're so close. 10 weeks left. Can you believe that, ladies? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. 10 weeks left. Anyway, until next time, ladies, keep on fighting. Mwah.